There comes a time when you feel exhausted, not physically but emotionally, like you've been carrying something too heavy for too long, a weight that no one else sees, but that you feel in every breath, in every step. At first, you tell yourself to endure it, to be stronger, to hold on a little longer. You convince yourself that if you care enough, if you love enough, if you prove yourself enough, things will change. But deep down, in the quietest corners of your soul, you already know the truth. This isn't strength, this is self-betrayal. You weren't meant to live in a constant state of waiting, waiting to be chosen, waiting to be appreciated, waiting for someone to finally see your worth. You were meant to be free. And freedom doesn't come from holding on. It comes from letting go. Letting go of the need to fix people who don't want to be fixed. Letting go of the hope that someone will change if you just love them harder. Letting go of the illusion that your happiness depends on anything outside of you. This is the moment of reckoning. The moment you look at your reflection and realize you don't need to carry this anymore. And the moment you decide to stop caring about proving yourself, about seeking permission, about clinging to what's already left, is the moment everything shifts. Because you don't lose yourself by letting go. You find yourself, and nothing is more powerful than that. We cling to things because we believe we have control. We hold on to people, to outcomes, to expectations, thinking that if we just care enough, if we just try harder, we can shape the world into what we want it to be. But this is an illusion. The more you chase, the further it runs. The more you try to force something to stay, the more it slips through your fingers. It's like holding on to water. You can cup it in your hands, but the tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes. And yet, you've spent so much of your life doing exactly that. Pouring your energy into people who don't see you. Investing your heart into situations that drain you. Waiting, always waiting, for something or someone to finally give you the love, the closure, the validation you've been searching for. But ask yourself this: how much longer are you willing to suffer for something that isn't even yours to control? Caring too much doesn't make people love you. It doesn't make them stay. It doesn't guarantee fairness, respect, or reciprocation. All it does is keep you shackled to a version of reality that only exists in your mind. And here's the hardest truth to accept. Sometimes, the more you care, the weaker you become. Not because caring is wrong, but because caring about the wrong things drains the life out of you. Because when your peace depends on something outside of you, on someone's approval, on a relationship working out, on a specific outcome happening, you're not just invested, you're enslaved. But what if you released it? What if, instead of gripping so tightly, you loosened your hold? What if you stopped chasing, stopped proving, stopped exhausting yourself over people and things that were never yours to fix? You don't lose anything by surrendering control. You only lose the chains. And when you finally stop trying to force things to go your way, you'll realize something powerful. Life flows in your favor when you stop resisting what was never meant to be yours. The moment you stop caring about control is the moment you finally taste freedom. There is a moment, a single quiet moment, when everything shifts. It doesn't come with fireworks or dramatic endings. It's not loud or chaotic. It happens in stillness, in the spaces between your thoughts, in the breath you take after one more disappointment, one more unanswered text, one more time you gave and got nothing in return. It's the moment you realize you are done, not angry, not bitter, just done. Done chasing, done proving, done trying to convince someone to see you, love you, choose you. And for the first time in a long time, you don't feel afraid. Because what was once a desperate grasp for control now feels unnecessary. What you once feared losing, you no longer want. The weight you carried for so long, the exhaustion of caring too much, suddenly feels pointless. This is not giving up. This is waking up. You look back and see how much energy you poured into things that were never meant for you. How much you sacrificed just to be enough for people who never even tried to meet you halfway. And it hits you. You never needed to do all of that. You were whole before them. You are whole without them. And in that moment, something inside you shifts. You stop checking your phone, waiting for a message that never comes. You stop replaying the conversations in your head, trying to find where you went wrong. You stop believing that your worth is something that other people get to decide. And when you stop caring about what once consumed you, you make space for peace. Not because the pain suddenly disappears, not because you don't love anymore, but because you finally understood something that changes everything. Your energy is sacred. And not everything or everyone deserves it. And when you stop wasting your energy on people who drain you, on situations that hurt you, you reclaim your power. You walk lighter, you breathe deeper, you move through life with grace, knowing that whatever is meant for you will never have to be forced. Because when you finally let go, life begins to flow. Something strange happens when you stop caring, really stop caring. Not in the way that turns you cold, but in the way that sets you free. The world shifts. People who once ignored you suddenly pay attention. Opportunities that once felt out of reach start appearing effortlessly. The things you used to chase begin to chase you. It's not magic, it's energy. When you were clinging, begging, over-explaining, bending yourself to fit someone else's expectations, you were operating from lack. You were pouring all your power into something outside of yourself, believing it held the key to your happiness. And in doing so, you gave it control over you. But when you stop, when you let go, detach, and redirect all that energy inward, everything shifts. People can feel it, the absence of your neediness, the silence where once there was desperation, the undeniable confidence of someone who is no longer waiting for permission to be enough. And suddenly they start leaning in. The friend who took you for granted wonders why you're no longer reaching out. The person who was emotionally unavailable starts noticing your absence. The opportunities that once felt impossible start coming to you naturally. But here's the truth. None of this happens because you're playing a game. It happens because you're finally standing in your power. You are no longer seeking, you are choosing. You are no longer proving, you are being. You are no longer begging, you are walking away from anything that doesn't honor you. And the world responds to that, not because it suddenly values you more, but because you do. This is the paradox of detachment. The moment you stop chasing, you become the one who is pursued. The moment you stop needing, you become the one who is desired. But here's the most powerful shift of all. By the time people start noticing your absence, you no longer care. Not because you're bitter, not because you want revenge, but because you finally realized the truth. Your peace was never meant to be something anyone else could give or take away. And once you understand that, you become unstoppable. At first, letting go feels like loss, like something is being taken from you, like you're giving up. But then, something incredible happens. You wake up one day and realize that what you thought was emptiness is actually peace. What you thought was loneliness is actually freedom. What you thought was losing control is actually gaining yourself back. You start to notice things, the way your mind is quieter, the way your heart feels lighter, the way your energy no longer spikes with anxiety every time your phone vibrates. The things that used to bother you, they barely get a reaction anymore. The situations that once drained you, they no longer have access to your inner world. And without all that noise, you finally start hearing yourself again. You begin to feel a deep sense of clarity, not because life suddenly became easier, but because you are no longer tangled in a web of overthinking, overgiving, and over-explaining. The fog clears, and you start making decisions from a place of strength rather than fear. You start seeing people for who they truly are, not for who you wanted them to be. You stop romanticizing potential, stop justifying mistreatment, stop making excuses for why you should keep holding on. You see everything exactly as it is, and you accept it. And then there's the confidence, the quiet kind, the kind that doesn't need to be announced, the kind that comes from knowing that you are no longer controlled by your need for validation. You walk differently, speak differently, move differently, not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you no longer feel the need to. The moment you stop asking for respect, you start commanding it, without a single word. And the world? It bends to that energy. Not because you played a game, but because you finally understood the rules. When you stop forcing, chasing, convincing, life flows. The things that were meant for you begin to find you, because your energy is no longer tangled in resistance. You see, life doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to detachment. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And when you become someone who is whole on their own, the world has no choice but to reflect that back to you. Because the moment you stop needing, you finally start receiving. Right now, in this very moment, you have a choice. You can keep holding on, clutching tightly to things that exhaust you, fighting for people who don't fight for you, waiting for something outside of yourself to make you feel whole. Or you can let go. Not just in words, not just in theory, but truly, deeply, in a way that shifts something inside of you. Because here's the truth, nothing changes until you do. Letting go is not passive. It's not about pretending you don't care or suppressing your emotions. It's about making an active, conscious decision to reclaim your energy and redirect it toward yourself. It's about choosing peace over attachment, presence over obsession, and self-respect over the need for external validation. It starts with awareness. Pay attention to where your energy is going. Who or what are you constantly thinking about? Where are you feeling resistance? What are you afraid to lose? If something is consuming your mind, draining your emotions, or making you feel less than whole, it's time to take a step back. Then comes acceptance. Accept that not everything is meant to be controlled. Accept that closure is something you give to yourself. Accept that the things meant for you will never need to be chased, forced, or begged for. This is not giving up. It's releasing the illusion that you ever had control in the first place. And then, the hardest part, detachment. Not coldness, not indifference, but a quiet, unshakable trust in yourself. This is where you choose yourself in ways you never have before. Where you stop checking, stop proving, stop waiting. Where you walk away not because you don't care, but because you finally do, about yourself. And when the thoughts creep in, because they will, when the old habits whisper that maybe you should reach out, maybe you should try one more time, maybe you should hold on just a little longer. Pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself, you are not losing anything that was ever truly yours. Detachment isn't something that happens overnight. It's a practice, a commitment to yourself. Some days will be easier than others. Some moments will test you. But every time you choose to redirect your energy, to let go instead of cling, to trust instead of chase, you win. You become lighter. You become clearer. You become the version of yourself you were always meant to be. And as you change, everything around you will change. The people who were only in your life because of your desperation will fade away. The things you thought you couldn't live without will seem insignificant. And in their place, new things will come, better things, because life responds to the energy you give it. And when you start showing up as someone who is whole, confident, and free, life will finally start giving you what you were searching for all along. Because the moment you let go, you become unstoppable. At some point, you have to decide. Do you keep holding on to what drains you, or do you finally let go? Letting go isn't about forgetting or pretending something didn't matter. It's about understanding that your energy is valuable and not everything or everyone is worthy of it. When you stop over-explaining, stop chasing, stop proving your worth to people who don't see it, something shifts. You feel lighter, clearer. You stop living in reaction mode and start moving with intention. And the best part? Life starts to flow again. You don't have to force what's meant for you. You don't have to beg for what's real. You don't have to fight for a place in someone's life when you were never meant to struggle to belong. So, take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what have I been holding on to that no longer serves me? And if, for even a second, you feel a pull inside you, a quiet knowing that it's time to release something, trust it. This is your moment, not to give up, but to move forward. Because the moment you stop caring about what weighs you down, you finally make space for what lifts you up. If this message resonated with you, let me know in the comments. What's one thing you're choosing to let go of today? Because this isn't the end, it's a new beginning.